sunnah, you serve the pious people, and you advise your Islamic brothers, and you love my companions and Ahl Bayt. This is the very reason that has elevated you to the ranks of the pious people. Dear Islamic brothers, you have heard that how greatly Allah Azza blessed Sayyidina Bishr Hafi Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, due to his love and following of Ahl Bayt Attari and the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, that he was blessed with beholding the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, as well as attained the highest rank amongst his contemporary awliya rahmatullahi ta'ala ajma'in. We should also live our hearts and following their footsteps. Moreover, avoid the company of those who disrespect them, and adopt the company of those devotees of Rasul who mention the eminence and dignity of the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum profusely. Adopt the company of those who recite out of respect upon taking their names. Remember, respect for the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum is mandatory for every Muslim. After the blessed Anbiya alayhi salam, the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum are the most deserving of reverence and dignity among all the people. They are those sacred personalities who showed submissiveness to the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam when he invited them to Islam. When they embraced Islam, they became determined to spread the universal and eternal message of Islam in every corner of the world, sacrificing their wealth, life and soul. So if you pay attention to the actions or activities of our pious predecessors, the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, and compare their activities to the activities of today, of the Muslims of today, and what's happening with the Muslims around the world. And when you compare their activities with the activities of Muslims today, then you will conclude the reason why we are in this state that we are in today. So they are those sacred personalities who, after embracing Islam, they become determined to spread the universal and eternal message of Islam in every corner of the world, sacrificing their wealth, soul and life. History is evident that these sacred personalities gave such incomparable sacrifices in order to spread the teachings of Quran and Hadith, and hoisting the flag of Islam high, that today one cannot even think about it. Beholding the beautiful face of the noble Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is such a great privilege that no other blessings of this entire world can equate to it. And the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum are those who beheld the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam and attained blessings from his blessed company day and night. They heard the Holy Quran and Deen from the blessed tongue of the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. माशाअल्लाह जो बुजुर्ग बैठे हैं, थोड़ी उर्दू में मैं आपको बता दूं, ये बयान जो है ना सहाबाए किराम मुर्दवान के बारे में है कि उन्होंने जो कुर्बानियाँ दी दीन के खातिर, और आप इंशाल्लाह इंग्लिश में मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कुछ अल्फाज उर्दू में भी, तो ये कुर्बानी जो थी उस कुर्बानियों की वजह से दीन हम तक पहुँचा और पूरी दुनिया में फैला। और जो उनके तरीक़ेकार थे, जो उनकी कुर्बानियाँ थी, अगर उनकी कुर्बानियों का हम गौर करके सोचें और हमारी जो हालत है आज, तो हम एक नतीजे पर पहुँचेंगे कि हमारी अब जो मुसलमानों की हालत है दुनिया में वो क्यों है, ये हम इस हालत में क्यों हैं। क्योंकि ये जो हालत है मुसलमानों की, ये अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्कॉलर्स, यानी उलमाए किराम ने उन्होंने जो कहा है, फरमाया है कि ये जो हालत है मुसलमानों की, ये वन ऑफ द लोएस्ट स्टेट ऑफ द मुस्लिम्स इन हिस्ट्री। यानी कि आज जो जितने हम मजलूम हैं मुसलमान, जो दुनिया भर में जो हर किस्म की परेशानी की हालत में है और हर किस्म की तकलीफ में है, उसकी वजह यही है कि हम जो ना ये जो हमारे सहाबाए किराम अलैहिमुर्रिदवान थे और जिन मुसलमानों ने कुर्बानियाँ दी हैं, उनके नक्शे कदम पर हम नहीं चल रहे। तो इंशाअल्लाह अज़्ज़वजल ये आप तवज्जो करेंगे, बहुत कुछ हमें मदनी फूल मिलेंगे। So these companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, they heard the Holy Quran and Deen from the blessed tongue of the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and were the addresses of the commands of Allah the Almighty directly without any chain in between. Allah the Almighty showered showers limitless blessings and grace upon these sacred personalities. Therefore, in order to succeed in both worlds, we should develop the love for these sacred personalities in our hearts and try to spend our lives following their footsteps. Let's listen to the definition of a Sahabi. Hakim al-Ummat Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Rahmatullahi Ta'ala Alayhi states, Sahabi, a companion in Sharia, is the one who sees the Holy Rasul Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi Wasallam in the state of Iman and sanity, or got the privilege of his Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi Wasallam company, and also, very important, and also passed away in the state of Iman. So a Sahabi is the one who brought Iman when they saw the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they actually died with the Iman as well. This is the most important part. Dear Islamic brothers, remember, all the prominent and distinguished Islamic scholars have consensus over the fact that the blessed companions, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, are superior to all the blessed awliya, rahimahumullah ta'ala. Even if all the blessed awliya until the day of judgment attain the highest ranks of wilayat, yet they can never reach the greatness of wilayat of any Sahabi at all. Allah the Almighty bless the ardent devotees of His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam. यानी कि अल्लाह के जो वली हमारे दरमियान अभी भी मौजूद हैं और क़यामत तक अल्लाह के नेक बंदे हमारे पास, हमारे नज़दीक और हमारे दुनिया में होंगे, तो उनके बारे में बताया गया है कि वो जिनका सबसे ज़्यादा स्टेटस है, वो जितना भी बड़ा स्टेटस है, वो एक सहाबी के स्टेट के मुताबिक कभी भी नहीं पहुँच सकते, सहाबी के बराबर कभी भी नहीं पहुँच सकते. Allah the Almighty bless the ardent devotees of His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam with such great saintly miracles which cannot even be imagined for the other blessed awliya. There is no doubt in the fact that not many saintly miracles were manifested by the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum as compared to those narrated from other blessed awliya rahimahumullah ta'ala. But remember, excess of saintly miracles is not proof of the superiority of wilayat, because wilayat actually refers to the closeness to Allah the Almighty. More the closeness one will have in the court of Allah the Almighty, higher his rank will be in wilayat. Because the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum are blessed with the luminosity and grace of Nabuwah of the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam, hence the rank that they have attained in the court of Allah the Almighty cannot be attained by other blessed awliya rahimahumullah ta'ala. Sadru Sharia Badru Tariqa Alama Maulana Mufti Muhammad Amjad Ali Azmi Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi states in Bahari Shariat, Volume 1, page 252, a publication of Makkatul Madina, the publishing department of Dawat-E-Islami, all the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum are those who possess goodness and piety and are just. Whenever they are spoken of, it is first to do so only with goodness. Whenever you mention any of the Sahabi, it is first obligatory that you do it with goodness. Having ill feelings towards them is a heretical act, misguidance, and something that makes one deserving of hell. He further states, all the blessed companions, regardless of any rank, are the dwellers of paradise. Let alone them entering the hell, ma'azallah. They will not even hear the slightest of the noise of hell and will always remain as per their heartfelt desires. The severe horror of the judgment day will not sadden them. Angels will welcome them, saying that this is the day you were promised. All this is content is mentioned in the glorious Quran. यानी कि सहाबाए किराम जितने भी सहाबी गुज़रे रज़ी अल्लाह ताला अन्हुम सब जन्नती हैं. तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अज़्ज़ व जल, तो वो जो क़यामत के दिन की हौलनाकियाँ होंगी उन सब से वो महफूज रहेंगे.
हर सहाबी नबी
Jannati, Jannati,
हर सहाबी नबी
Jannati, Jannati. While mentioning the sequence of superiority among the blessed companions, radiallahu ta'ala anhum, Ala Hazrat, revivalist of sunnah, eradicator of bid'ah, scholar of sharia, a guide of tariqah, Ash-Shah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan rahmatullah ta'ala alayh, states in Fatwa Razabiyya Sharif, volume 28, page 478, Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat, may Allah Azza wa Jal help them, have consensus over the fact that after Mursaleen Malaika or Rasul or Anbiya Bashar, meaning the Rasul of humans and angels, the Khulafai Arba, meaning Sayyidina Siddiq Akbar, Sayyidina Faruq Azam, Sayyidina Usman Ghani, and Sayyidina Ali ul Murtaza radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, are the most creation of Allah Almighty. No one from the previous ummahs or the present one can reach the level of their nobility, greatness, reverence, dignity, eminence and closeness to Allah the Almighty and Wilayat. Sadr Sharia Badru Tariqa Alama Maulana Mufti Amjad Ali Azmi Rahmatullah Ta'ala alayhi states, after Khulafai Rashideen, superiority lies for the remaining Ashrai Mubashra, Hasnani Kariman, companions of Badr, and then the companions of Bayt-e Ridwan, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Moreover, they are all absolutely paradise dwellers. And this is a really important point to keep in mind, that all the Sahabis, Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, are the dwellers of paradise. Allah Hazrat Imam Ahl Sunnah, Maulana Shah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan rahmatullah ta'ala states, the one who, ma'azallah, speaks ill of the Shaykhain radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma is a disbeliever. And the one who considers Mawla Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu to be superior to Siddiq Akbar and Umar Faruq Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu will not be a disbeliever but a misguided person. A misguided person. Among the same companions, Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is also an illustrious companion who used to inscribe the Wahi, the divine revelation. Sayyidina Imam Hassan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu handing over their khilafat to Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu themselves and had a pledge of allegiance to him. Being disrespectful, Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu or his father Sayyidina Abu Sufyan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu or his mother Sayyidatuna Hinda radiyallahu ta'ala anha is also a cause of displeasure to the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. It is strictly haram to indulge in those many controversial events which took place amongst the Sahabas. Muslims should see that all the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum are the ardent devotees and true slaves of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah Azza. How great and elevated is the dignity of the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, that Allah Azza wa Jal accepted their deeds and relayed them in the glad tidings of His pleasure, paradise and the great achievement. The beloved Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam of Allah the Almighty also mentioned the dignity and greatness of His beloved companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum on different occasions. In order to reap blessings, let's listen to 5 blessed sayings of the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam in relation to the excellence of the blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. A person asked the Holy Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, who are better people? Who are better people? He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam replied, better people are of the era I'm in, meaning of the time I am in. After this, those of the second era, and after them, those of the third era. Allah the Almighty gave superiority to my companions. This is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah the Almighty gave superiority to my companions over the entire universe, except for Anbiya and Rasul alayhi salam. So the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can tell from the status, their status from the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the third saying, the fire of hell will not touch the Muslim who has had the privilege of beholding me or my companion. Subhanallah. The fire of hell will not touch the Muslim who has had the privilege of beholding me or my companion. Another saying, among my companions, whoever passes away in whichever land, he will be resurrected as a nur and guide for them on the day of judgment. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Dear Islamic brothers, undoubtedly, the eminence of the blessed companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum is extremely elevated. No one can attain their rank and status through salah, sawm, and righteous actions at all. These are the blessed qualities of these Sahaba Ikram alayhim ridwan. But my dear Islamic brothers, looking at our own situation of today, it begs the question, why are we so far away from the honor that Allah Azza wa Jal bestowed upon the companions and our predecessors, radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, and our predecessors? Why are the Muslims today suffering? And from this short Bayaan speech, you would have actually realized that the respect and the honor of the Muslims is only given to the Muslims when the Muslims adopt the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and follow in the footsteps of the companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. When you look at the sacrifices the companions gave, and the graves of these great companions, which actually have from Medina Sharif, they traveled thousands of miles to four corners of the world to spread the work of deen. And when you compare their lifestyle to the lifestyle of Muslims of today, we have to accept that there is a big shortcoming. There is a big shortcoming. And the shortcoming is due to the fact that we have fallen in love with the dunya. Our desire for the dunya is greater than their desire for the akhirah. Our desire for the dunya is greater than their desire for the akhirah. The desire for the akhirah, according to the scholars, if Muslims were to act upon the sunnah of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if they were to act upon their footsteps, then they would actually put the desire of the hereafter over the dunya. And if they were to do this, then Allah Azza wa Jal will not only give them hereafter, but Allah Azza wa Jal will also give them the dunya as well. This is, if you like, the sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal will reward you both worlds. Allah Azza wa Jal, if we make our, put our intentions for the akhirah, if we make our purpose of life by engaging our activities on a daily basis, heading towards the akhirah, rather than engaging it with the dunya. I'll give you an example. And this is a true incident. And there's a common saying that if, for example, someone was to appear before a judge, two people, and one person has heard a story or is relaying something that he has heard, and another person is an eyewitness. The person who is an eyewitness, his statement will be given more credit. His statement will be given more credit because he is an eyewitness. I'm an eyewitness to not long ago, I was in the Arab world, United Arab Emirates, and I saw for myself, and this is the condition that we are all going through. It's not just the people there, around the globe is happening. And I think I'll come back to the activities of Muslims here in the UK. But what I saw there made me so sad and also angry. That I was staying at a place and there was a restaurant in this hotel or the building at the bottom, on the ground floor. And when I used to pass that restaurant in the evenings, outside the restaurant I used to see many, many expensive cars parked there. And so you could tell these people are well-off business people. And I used to obviously, there was a masjid nearby, go to the masjid and come back and so on. And I used to see these people sitting inside, and obviously they have to be Muslim, or majority Muslim, if not all Muslim, because in an Islamic country. I saw them with my own eyes, people from the ages of 20, 25 to the elderly age of 60 or 65, 70 years of age, What were they doing in this restaurant? They were sat around a round table, and they had screens in front of them. Like, if you remember a few years ago when there was a craze about Nintendo. I don't know if you're aware of Nintendo games. Almost everybody, even, it was meant for youngsters, but even older people got hooked to it, or onto it. And they used to play these games on the computer, on the screen. So these Muslims were sat around a table and they were playing games. They had a competition among themselves. The place was filled. Not only that, they were smoking shisha. And you probably aware I didn't have a clue a few years ago. It's become more common. They were smoking shisha and they were playing games. These are not children, 15 or 14-year-old. These are grown-up men. And people, there's a saying that if one of your hair turns grey, then that is a sign of death, sign of death. And you're getting close to the grave. There were people who were old age pensioners, Muslims. They were sat around tables smoking shisha and playing games. And they also had, I think, kava or a black tea being served to them as well. So I witnessed this myself. And I thought, if they're sat here, who's going to the masjid? Who's going to read the namaz with Jamaat, which is wajib? And this highlights the situation what we are facing today. Muslims, our predecessors, they would put namaz at the forefront. If someone missed a namaz, even with the Jamaat is wajib, I'm telling you, people take it lightly on the day of judgment. In fact, a scholar mentioned this, that when a person is buried, and alhamdulillah, Muslims we are very, very fortunate, no matter what state we are in today. If we die with Iman, we are the luckiest people on the planet. Because a person who dies, even if the sinner he hasn't, really done justice to himself. What justice have we been doing to ourselves over the years, especially living in the UK, right? We got to question, what justice have we done to ourselves? When Allah tells us to, protect yourself from the fire of hell, and the people amongst you, the people closer to you. What efforts are we making to protect ourselves and the people, our close family members, from the fire of hell? How much actions do we take to protect it? Never mind protecting others, what about ourselves? How much efforts are we making? And according to the scholars, and like I said, Muslims are lucky that when a Muslim is buried, they turn the face of the Muslim towards the Kaaba when they lay them in the ground. According to the scholar, and this is a great warning for all of us, for every Muslim on the planet. If someone deliberately misses Jamaat and he knows he can get to the masjid and without any Sharia ruling, reasons that he doesn't go to the masjid and he deliberately does not read with the Jamaat, what the scholars have mentioned is that when the people have left that person in the grave, and if he's lucky enough to die with the Iman, when the Muslims are left that Muslim in the grave, they're facing towards the Kaaba Sharif, Allah Azza wa Jal will order the angels to turn his face away from the Kaaba. Why? Because that Muslim was not actually going to the masjid and reading with the Jamaat. And this is just with the Jamaat. What about the Muslims who do not actually read namaz? They only read namaz on a Friday. Only on a Friday. And there are others, far worse than that, who read namaz maybe during the month of Ramadan. Or even worse than that, who only read namaz on the day of Eid. Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Those 2 days in the year, they read namaz, wear the best clothes, and they think that, they'll be forgiven and, they're going to have a great time in the hereafter or even in the grave. They're being deluded by the shaitan. That's what's happening. And the people I saw in the United Arab Emirates don't think that it's just an isolated situation. In the town where I come from, not long ago, they made a takeaway and they called it Sultan's Lounge. Sultan's Lounge. And Sultan, if you know in Persian or Arabic, it means a king or a leader, for example. Sultan's Lounge. And they had a proverb, a writing underneath. It said something like this, remember the days when we ruled the world. So it says outside Sultan's Lounge, and underneath it says, remember the days. So they're addressing the Muslims, of course, because the Muslims are obviously going to be going to this Sultan's Lounge. Remember the days Muslims ruled the world. And you thought, wow, that's a catchy phrase, remember the days. We should all remember, but we should remember why they ruled the world, how they did they rule the world. And you know what this lounge was, Sultan's lounge? It was a shisha lounge. A shisha lounge. And you think these people, I mean, I thought, where is their, little bit of intellect? Or, do they have any intellect at all? If they had intellect, do you think that anybody who sits around smoking shisha, they'll be or be able to rule the world? They won't be even able to rule themselves. So look at the message they're conveying, right, to the Muslims of today. So the state of the Muslims, and I can tell you the situation that we face today, I could never imagine. And those brothers who are sat here who know anything about historical aspects of the dunya and how Muslims, what they actually went through, the suffering they've actually, the way they were tormented, humiliated. When I actually came across the Mongolian history of Mongolia, the Mongolians, when they actually invaded the Muslim land, and the way they persecuted the Muslims, I could never imagine that in my lifetime that I will see the same persecution happening in my lifetime. But it has happened. It's happened today as well. It's happened not long ago, and the videos were all over in Burma, for example. What Muslims have faced in Burma, for example. So the state of the Muslims, the humiliation that we face today is one of the signs of Qiyamah as well. According to hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the state of Muslim will be worse than a black goat. Right, a goat, an ugly goat, not black goat, an ugly goat, according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Because in the times of the Prophet ﷺ, a goat, obviously, you look at the animal and its quality and then purchase it. If it wasn't good enough, nobody would purchase it. Right? They would just ignore it. So a moment believer in one of the signs of Qiyamah is going to be in this state, in the humiliated state like an ugly goat. And this is what we're seeing today. Where is the respect and honor? And the reason is that we're not following in the great footsteps of these companions of the Prophet ﷺ and the other predecessors who passed before us. And there are the friends of Allah are still amongst us today, like the Sheikh of Dawat-E-Islami, Sheikh Lama Muhammad Ilyas Qadri, Damat Barkatun Aliyah. Look at the work they have done. Look at the untiring work that they've done, tireless work that they've done. They've given sweat and blood for the sake of deen. Only about 30 odd years ago, the work of Dawat-E-Islami started. It spread to over 200 countries in the world. Over 200 countries in the world. And the reason being is that because they have no hidden agenda. All they want to do is make the Muslims practice their deen. Follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And those brothers who are sat here, if we all make the intention, not just to actually do it for ourselves, but why are we here alone? Why can't we invite other Muslims to the masjid as well? This masjid should be full. This masjid should be full, not just for the ijtima, but for 5 daily prayers. Never mind inviting others, what about ourselves? I mean, we should ask ourselves the question, how much effort did we actually make to get up for Fajr namaz this morning? And if we were lacking in that effort earlier on today, we should actually reform. The whole purpose of the ijtima is that we are able to change our activities. We actually try to be better Muslims than what we were even today. So tomorrow should be a better day for us, not the status quo, not carry on as we are before, as we were before. So the purpose of actually coming to the ijtimas and listening to the speeches from the Quran and Hadith is that we actually reform ourselves and then try to reform the rest of the people of the world. But my dear Islamic brothers, my time is running out. Please let me know when I need to finish. But please remember that if we really want dignity and self-respect, we have to change. And you think that maybe I've been talking about brothers, the situation of sisters even worse. The situation of our sisters even worse than the Muslims. A few days ago, somebody was telling me, and this person, if nowadays, if people want to get information, very, very easy now. You can be sat at home and get all kind of information from around the world. Right information and wrong information. And one of the information you can get is the news of what's happening around the world. And this person relayed to me, he said that people talk about Muslims drinking alcohol. There are a lot of our youth who are drinking alcohol. Never mind doing good deeds, they're committing sins. We are committing sins, and then we expect Allah to show mercy upon us, to help us to improve our home environment. There are Muslims who line up to buy lottery tickets, for example. According to a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, if someone gambles, it's like putting your hand into the blood of swine, your hand into the blood of a pig. So if somebody gambles, it's like they're putting their hand into the blood of a pig. Which Muslim with the right frame of mind would want to put never mind go near a pig, never mind putting their hand into the blood of swine. I saw for myself, and you've probably seen it in many, many places, when they see all these, big messages that they actually show up in marketplace and so on, that the lottery money has now accumulated to 30 million euros or 30 million pounds. Everybody is desperate for money. And you will find people, Muslims, queuing up without any shame. And then you look at the state of the non-Muslims, and they have lost it. When I came to this country, I used to see a lot of Christians going to the church on a Sunday. Now, almost every church has been abandoned. Very, very few churches left. Many religions people are moving away from religion. But who should be guiding these people, misguided people who have lost their religion, towards religion? Who should be guiding them? The Muslims. There's nobody else left. Even if you look, not long ago, they used to send these missionaries to the at such a high rate of these missionaries used to go to the Muslim land to spread their religion. But they've realized they've had no success. So even their work missionary has been cut back. So they're looking for answers. And what are they finding? They're not finding Muslims going to them and telling them about Islam. So they're inventing the religions called pseudo-religions. The non-believers are inventing their own religions called pseudo-religions. They're making them up, right? Just to worship something, right? Just to worship something which is not true. But what about the Muslims? We shouldn't be looking at them and pointing fingers. We should be pointing a finger at ourselves. What am I doing for my deen? What my deen has, all the great things that Allah has bestowed upon the Muslim. If you look at historically, the most blessed people that have ever set their foot on the planet are the Muslims. From the time of Hazrat Adam al-Islam to the last Muslim who's going to pass away from this dunya, the most blessed people, the most honorable people are the Muslims. And those people who truly believed in the previous prophets like Hazrat Isa al-Islam, they were also Muslims as well. Those people who believed in Musa al-Islam, in true message of Islam during the time of Musa al-Islam, were true Muslims as well. And if they died in that state, they were Muslims. They are Muslims. So the most blessed people that ever came to this planet are the Muslims. But look at our state today. And we have to take our religion seriously. Just to highlight the state of the non-Muslims, I saw a car recently, and it had a logo at the back of the car, and it said this word, 2-3 words on it. It said, pagan and proud. Pagan and proud. And the people brothers who said to you, if you know what pagan is non-believer, who does not believe that Allah, na'uz billah, exists. Right? You think that there's nothing after death. When you die, you turn to dust. That's the end of it. So pagans are who have no faith whatsoever. They do not believe in the creation. Right? They may believe in evolution. Right? Darwin's theory and so on. So he had this logo at the back of the car. Pagan and proud. And when I saw this, I thought, if this guy had any common sense, in fact, the right message should be pagan and proud, not pagan and proud, pagan and proud. Because if you do not believe that there is a creator, how can all these things that manifest around us, how can they actually go around, how can these things happen without somebody controlling them? The daylight, the night hours, the 24 hours in the day and night, for example, the weather season, the 4 seasons that we have, the way Allah Azza wa Jalla has planned this dunya. There has to be a creator. Many proofs of this. But just shows you that this person, obviously, is totally lost the plot, if you like. So he's proud to display himself as a pagan in so-called enlightened century. The non-believers, they call this enlightened century, 20th century. If this is enlightenment, what is darkness? People are heading towards darkness. They're heading towards the fire of hell at such a pace, even the Concorde cannot keep up pace with them. If the Concorde was to follow these people who are running towards the hellfire, they would lose pace with them. That's how fast they're going, because they're breaking all the laws of Allah Azza wa Jalla. They're breaking all the laws of Allah Azza wa Jalla. They have no purpose in life. They do not know what life is all about. They do not even realize that in the grave, the angels are going to come and question them. When you mention this to them, they are astounded. Hey, do angels exist? And you think, well, you ask them a question, what about your parent? Oh, they were religious. What about you? I've lost it. I don't follow any religion. So when you come across these people, sometimes you wonder, why are they so extreme? But then you go to ask yourself the question, if somebody is so ignorant, there has to be a reason behind it. The environment has polluted them. And the same environment is polluting our Muslim brothers and sisters as well. Don't think that we are in any way immune from the pollution which is taking place amongst the non-believers. We are not immune in whatsoever. Because if you were to, and this is again a fact, a few years back, they did a survey in the Arab world, and they asked Muslims to recite Surah Fatiha. Recite Surah Fatiha. And they discovered a high proportion of Muslims did not even know the Surah Fatiha. And another proportion, they didn't even know the meaning of Surah Fatiha. This is in the Arab world. If this is the state of the Arab world, what about in the Pakistani world, if you like? In the Indian subcontinent. And coming to the UK, for example, please let me know what time, because I don't want to take too much time. And so, inshallah. If you come to the UK, because rather than discuss too much about what's going on, we got to address our own selves. Look, when our elders came to this country, and again I was an eyewitness, I saw things here which you cannot even imagine. You might think I'm talking about the dinosaurs era. It's not the dinosaurs era. This country, the bathrooms were outside. A lot of houses, properties, they had bathroom outside. Right? In fact, there was no bathroom. There was only a toilet outside. And if somebody wanted to have a shower, they'd have a tub in the cellar somewhere. And there was no hot running water as such. They would have boiled the kettle, and the elders are agreeing, they're nodding here, they're agreeing with me. This is what the situation of this so-called, advanced country. Not long ago. I'm not talking about 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years. This is only 30, 40 years ago. 40, 50 years ago, this country was in a state that you see today, this is like a phenomenon. Such a short period of time, how, the situation has changed. How comfortable life has become for people around the globe. And it's not just in this country, but around the world. But with this comfort, what are we doing? What is our contribution? What efforts are we making to take advantage of this comfort? If the masjid have running water, why aren't we coming to the masjid to do wuzu and read namaz? If the masjid have central heating, why aren't we coming to the masjid to read our namaz with the jamaat? If the masjid have carpets 40, 50 years ago, again at the same time, if you had carpet in your house, you were seen as somebody who was an aristocrat or a rich person. People used to have linos, they used to call them, right? Or even just floorboards. Just floorboards. And they used to, just go by with the situation that they were under. But look at in such a short period of time, the changes that have actually happened. But how much effort are we making? And what about the advent of internet? Not long ago, you would spend hours and hours. If you were a person who cared about education, you would go to the library and you would search for a certain book, And you would ask a librarian, could you please find me this book? This is the name of the author. This is the title of the book. And they will ask you the question and they will go around searching and use index cards and so on. And it could take a couple of hours, right, or so. Now, you sit at home, you type in there maybe 2-3 words of this title of this book, and the book will be presented in front of you on the screen in a matter of seconds, not even minutes. But how much efforts are we making to gain knowledge of our deen? How much efforts are we making to, when we face the Prophet ﷺ, this is the blessed month of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is a month when we need to address ourselves. Why are we going around wanting to look like the non-Muslims when they have lost the plot? Pagan and proud, they have lost the plot. What is there to be proud of if you're going to be pagan? You know, if that guy was there, I would ask him, tell me, why are you proud of being a pagan? Non-belief. What is there to be proud of? If somebody was said, for example, fatherless and proud, I don't have a father, so I'm proud. Why are you proud if you don't have a father? It doesn't make sense. You will be proud that this father has brought me to this dunya and he's looked after me, he brought me up and did everything possible to raise me up. You will be proud of that father. If you put 2 and 2 together. But because they have lost the plot, they do not know that if the non-believers had an iota of realizing that they're going to be questioned in the grave, because I've spoken to a few and they're totally shocked. Their face color changes. Their face color changes. When you tell them that the reality is that when you die, you don't really die. You don't really die. You will answer to Allah Azza wa Jalla. The angels will come and question you. But what about the Muslims? Are we aware of this? What face are we going to show to the Prophet ﷺ in the grave? What have we done for the deen? How many times did we spend in the masjid? Did we grow a beard, for example? And those who brothers who said, we're not pointing, and Dawat-E-Islami does not point fingers at anyone. But Dawat-E-Islami does not turn the other cheek. It does not turn the other cheek. It does not give you sugar-coated religion. Religion that you say, yes, even if you don't read namaz, mashallah, you're a Muslim, be proud of yourself, yeah, don't worry, you'll be okay. No. Dawat-E-Islami says, it warns you that a benamazi, when somebody deliberately delays his namaz, according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the angels write the name of that person on the door of the fire of hell. If someone deliberately delays it, but if someone doesn't even read the namaz, what state will he be in? And if that person dies in that state, he will enter that's the door he will use to enter into the fire of hell. Who wants to go anywhere near the fire of hell? According to the scholars, the fire of hell is 70 times stronger than the fire of the dunya. 70 times stronger than the fire of dunya. So what are we going to do when the Prophet ﷺ comes into the grave? We'll be very, very fortunate. But when the Prophet ﷺ looks at us, will they be able to tell that this is my ummati, who loved me, who loved my sunnah? And I would say to all the brothers that if you haven't been practicing the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, come and join the mahal of Dawat-E-Islami. I'm telling you, and this is not because, alhamdulillah, that I'm part of Dawat-E-Islami. I would ask you to do your own research. Find any organization in the world that stresses upon the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ like Dawat-E-Islami does. Because to get close to Allah Azza wa Jalla, every person of sanity, every person who has any kind of smallest amount of intellect would want to please Allah Azza wa Jalla, would want to get close to Allah Azza wa Jalla. The only way, there's no second way, the only way to get close to Allah Azza wa Jalla is by following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. There's no other way. May Allah Azza wa Jalla allow me and all of us who have attended this ijtima act upon what's being said, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla allow us to follow this beautiful sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam and the companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. Sallu ala al-Habib.